Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast presents episode 613, Cold Start, recorded live on January 18th, 2018. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am your host, Duststorm.
And I am your co-host, Godzilla T.
And we have an update. Yay!
Yay! Only seconds before we started the show, too.
Right. An hour. Come on, Grim. You need a little more leeway than that. Thankfully, it wasn't a huge read to comprehend everything that's going on in the update, so we'll get through it pretty quickly. Nothing else in community news either, so we're probably going to have somewhat of a short show tonight, unfortunately. But we do have a couple of things from the weekend to go over. So our game night actually was, I'm assuming, pretty good on Friday.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Good. What did we end up doing over there?
Let's see, Fiesta, Castle Wars. I don't even think we went into Warzone. I don't remember
Nice.
now. Played some customs.
Castle Wars is fun. We also had someone there, aka me.
Yeah.
We also tried the one game mode that I mentioned 2 weeks ago, or I guess last week technically, the Unsorted Gaming's Battlegrounds, which has a bug, unfortunately. It's supposed to be 5 rounds, but whenever you get to the second round, you're invulnerable, so you don't exactly die. We got to play that with, 9 people? Is what we maxed
Something
out
like
at?
that.
And that was fun. It does suck that the game mode is a little bugged, but for the most part, it was nice to try it out. And hopefully they'll fix it and make a couple more maps for the game mode. Might be an update cycle as quickly as the actual game has been making map updates.
Yeah, I was just listening to Major Nelson's last podcast, and at the time of the podcast, and this was before the game had even launched, they had made like 4 or 5 updates.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm kind of behind on my podcasts.
I think another thing with it being on Xbox is there's still a lot of bugs and tweaks that they're having to do for the console specifically. That's probably already been addressed on PC. And I think that's one of the reasons why the console version is getting a lot more patches than the PC version now.
Well, it's probably the game just is reacting differently on console than it did on PC as well. You know, adjusting for the different hardware.
I've heard there's been some frame rate issues too.
Well, from what I understand, if you're going to play it, you want to play it on an OG Xbox One or a Slim. You don't want to play it on the X because of render times. If you're on the slower hardware, you actually have an advantage.
That seems a little backwards.
Well, the deal is the draw distance on the older or the slower hardware. That draw distance is shorter, but the people in the game will show up before the environment will. So, say I'm playing on an Xbox One X. I will think I'm it will show me crawling through grass, but my opponent will be looking at me and all he'll see is me, no grass, because it hadn't rendered the grass yet.
Okay, got it. I guess that's the stuff that's still working out then. We'll see.
So having the fastest hardware is not always an advantage.
Not quite. That was fun this weekend though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Whenever they have an update to the game mode and possibly another map, I'd like to give it another try. The random weapons isn't quite as random as I'd like it to be. Granted, I know there's some limitations with the current scripting engine, and Forge is already, so we're kind of getting what we can get for now. For now, it works. But it is one of those things I hope a little more work can be done on it to refine it and fix some of the smaller issues with it. And then I would suspect that any big lobbies would be up for playing it.
Yeah, I'll have to jump in there and play around a little bit more so I can find where all the weapon spawns are.
Yeah.
So I know where to point myself.
There's also a video that got uploaded this weekend too.
Yes, there was.
A new episode of Achieving Halo, perhaps?
Yes, I did complete the level Genesis.
Yay!
In this video, show you how to get 2 achievements. Tank still beats everything, and oh shoot, I can't think of the other one. It's like something rodeo. I can't. Isn't this bad? I can't even remember the achievements I just went and got.
That's okay.
Let's see. Sorry, Rolling Thunder.
That's where you...
That was operate 4 separate vehicles on the level Genesis. I will be definitely needing help for the last 2. There's achievements in those levels that require multiple people. One is kill 2 wardens at the same time. And then the other one is on the last level where you have to simultaneously destroy 2 power cores. So if you're interested, be sure to hit me up. You can get me on Twitter at Godzilla Todd or on Xbox Live at Godzilla Space T. And we'll get you in.
And the next one you are doing co-op, right?
Yeah, the next one the next 2, in order to get those achievements, I will have to have more people. I can't do it with AI. I can't get the AI, I can't control the AI good enough to have them destroy a power core at the exact same time I do, or to kill 1 warden at the exact same time I do. Some help finishing this up would be greatly appreciated. I will be putting a post out this weekend for next weekend. Let's see, what is next weekend? Next weekend is the 27th of January, and we will. I will try to get some people together and get one or both of them filmed. Depends on how long each one takes. So we can get this finished up.
Awesome. And we have 2 more episodes, right?
Yeah, there's 2 levels left.
Very nice. And then Halo 5 will almost be done.
No, it will almost be done. It will be done.
Yeah, that's true.
The last 2 levels we have are the Breaking and Guardian. Or Guardians.
The last Blue Team one, and then the last Fire Team Osiris one. Yay! Alrighty, so that is kind of our weekend update. We have a few things for the update that we're going to go through, and that will probably be it for today, since we don't have anything else to really talk about. So let's go ahead and jump on into the news. This was posted basically 2 hours ago, as of when we were recording this. The first open online LAN tournament, not technically LAN, but tournament for the Halo World Championships was this past weekend. They are online, I think, $2,000 tournaments, or I'm not sure if there's money associated to these or not. But it was the first one for all the regions. Overhaul Esports took the Australia and New Zealand region. Vexed eBuyer took Europe and Middle East. Yellow Brick Road, which was Splice before, took North America. Solid Gaming in South America, and Shock the World in Mexico. So we have open tournaments every weekend leading up to open LAN tournaments and up through the Halo World Championship. I think the last one, well, basically the last one in each region is after their finals. So into mid to late February is when some of those open LANs will stop taking place, and we have the route of finals coming in to play. First one being the open LAN in Orlando, which is open to the world. So we have those results for the first open online tournament. So congratulations to those teams. We'll take a little more deeper look into these once the Orlando Open starts coming around. We're going to try to find someone that can do a little competitive segment for us, since we're kind of in the middle of competitive season about that time frame. So if anyone knows anyone that's interested or wants to do a segment, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to try to reach out to some of the people that we know and get that underway. For the Halo 5 FFAs, smash.gg/MRS Halo is the place to go to register for the Microsoft Store tournaments. It is all over the world, basically. At least Canada and the US, I think, is where the divisions and circuits are. At least that's all I can tell from what they have listed. Again, smash.gg/MRS Halo if you're interested in participating in the Halo 5 FFA portion of the Halo World Championship 2018. Yeah, Tasman would be a good pick, but he already does his podcast. I don't know if he'd be willing to do Thursday nights to come on over and do a segment, but might be worth asking. I'll shoot a note over to him and see if he's interested in doing something like that. Next up is Smoke and Shadow has hit store shelves, and that it is now a physical printed edition which you can pick up. It was originally sold as a digital only, very similar to New Blood, but just today it hit store shelves and you can pick it up at your local brick and mortar store or on any major online retailer. The nice thing about this book, though, is it also has the short story Into the Fire that was originally written in Halo Fractures in full text in the book as well, which I believe was kind of wasn't that a prelude to Smoke and Shadow? Into the Fire?
I honestly can't remember because I don't remember the story right at the moment.
Okay. I haven't read either, so.
Well, I've gone through the book. I just don't remember the story.
Gotcha.
It's not like there's a dozen different stories in that book. Oh, wait a minute, there is.
There's more. So we'll be taking a look at Smoke and Shadow after Legacy of Onyx at some point. I'm not sure where that's going to fit into our novel reading for the year, but we'll likely get around to it this year. I do want to take a moment to actually shout out another podcast which I've actually been listening to recently called the Halo Conversationalist. Have you heard of this podcast, GT?
I've heard of the YouTube channel. I haven't listened to any other podcasts.
It's the same thing. It's just they take their video recordings and put them into podcast format.
Yeah, I watched a few of the videos, but I haven't done a lot of them.
So basically what this group is doing is going through every book and game almost in release order and doing a sum up of the book. Basically, those who haven't read the books and want to just kind of get a audio version, condensed down version of the books, they're going through it and discussing it and some of the details, some of the stuff that they found interesting and surprising. A little similar to how we do our book shows as well. And right now, I think the latest one that they did was either New Blood or Last Light. Might be a Last Light. Oh, Hunters in the Dark, actually. So it might be something where once we kind of converge on a book, we might have them on the show, or at least ask them for it. But I definitely recommend checking them out. I've actually been listening to them to and from work, just getting a refresher on some of the old books. I started with the very first show, and they started with Fall of Reach, and then they did a Flood coinciding with the first game, and I just finished listening to First Strike. They're up to episode 40, and they've been around for a little more than a year. So again, if it's something where you don't want to take the time to read all the books and you want something just that's condensed down and good discussion along with it, then I definitely recommend checking them out. They have on average 3, 4, 5 hosts per show, so it's a pretty well entertained group of people that are talking on the show. So check them out. Next up in the update is a VOD of the first Canon Fodder live stream. So Grim actually made a tweet last week gauging the community's interest, or kind of placating to the community, of doing some Canon Fodder based Halo live streams. And the first one that they did was a look inside Halo Warfleet. For those that have the book, you probably know a little bit of the detail that's in the book. It goes into a lot of specifics and diagrams for not just ships, but there's other aspects of the Halo universe as far as structures and things that the book covers. What they went through was actually very similar to a briefing that some of us that were actually fortunate to go to 343 during PAX this year were able to see. the presentation, and they basically went over that in the live stream. GT, did you get a chance to check this out at all?
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't get to watch it live because, like doctor's appointments. But anyway,
yeah, life.
No, I was actually off work, and I tried to listen to it, but cell reception was bad. So I went and watched the VOD of it later, and it's a really interesting show. There was a lot of details in the book that they left out, because it took the book in a direction they didn't want to go, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
And there was also a lot of content they wanted to put in there that they couldn't. Just because of the sheer size and how much more it would actually cost to produce it, and then cost incurring to the consumers as well.
It's a really good show. I do recommend, if you have not seen it, to go watch it. I was watching it while I was doing some other stuff, and it's really... it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of details that I had no idea that went into developing the book. Just the sheer number of versions each ship went through before they finally settled on a final design. Stuff like that.
Did they go over any of the designs where they had like two different things that like clash between different games or different visuals that were out there, and that they had to choose like an official version that they posted in the book?
Forward into Dawn. That was one of them.
And the other thing too, which was kind of interesting, which from a Canon perspective, it's a very interesting conundrum, but did they talk about I obviously didn't watch the stream because I was otherwise preoccupied, but did they go over how the Pillar of Autumn level that's designed in the game actually doesn't fit in the ship?
They did make mention of it, and they did actually try to make it fit and determined that it wasn't going to, and they just said, oh, well, screw
it. Yeah.
They did make mention of it, but they didn't actually give a explanation. They actually even had an overlay where they showed the CE level and the Pillar of Autumn, and how they couldn't make it go inside the Pillar of Autumn.
Which, at that point, I don't think Bungie was really looking at, oh, this has to be canonically sound. I mean, now they're obviously making sure everything does.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was the first game in the series. They had no idea it was going to go the way it did. They didn't think they were going to come up with this kind of following for this game. They were looking to maybe just make a little money on it and to cover the expenses, and that was good. They weren't expecting this community to spring up around their game. So it doesn't surprise me.
And then it did.
And some people are just too picky. I don't care. It was a fun game. I don't care if the map doesn't fit in the ship. It was fun.
Yeah.
Until you go to play it on Legendary for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That is one thing I have to say about MCC, Boom Skull.
Yes.
And Grunt Funeral.
That helps clear
Makes
out
the
rooms
game
pretty quickly.
so much easier.
Although, you have to watch out for some of those flying grunts. Because
you do?
They will fly towards you at the most opportune times, and then you're like, well, I'm screwed. If you have the Grunt Funeral Skull on, that is. If you have those combo, which you have the combo.
You have to be aware and realize that you're in confined spaces with large explosions.
At least when you're in the Pillar of Autumn or the Truth and Reconciliation.
But they make it so much easier to clear a room. I mean, it's usually one grenade, and that's...
It's like, cool.
Or shoot one grunt, and then the chain reaction takes over.
Yay! Just have a bunch of yays everywhere.
In Halo CE, this is a problem. You'll throw a grenade, and you'll duck back around a corner, but the grenade won't go off until you peek your head around the corner again.
Oh, like a load zoning type of issue?
No, it's not a load zone. It just, if you get too far from the grenade, because you're hiding from the explosion, the grenade won't go off until you peek your head around the corner.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it does that in Halo 2. I don't remember that happening in Halo 2, but in Halo 1, that was an issue.
I don't think I've ever run into that issue.
Oh, I did when I was doing my Achieving Halo run. I ran into it a lot.
I'll have to try that at some point. Is it because it's not, I guess maybe because it's not rendering or playing sound?
Well, yeah, the grenade just doesn't physically explode until you get close enough to it to where it probably is within your sight line, and then it'll go off.
I'm gonna have to try that.
You'll throw the grenade, it'll explode, and you'll hear a grunt go off, and you'll be hiding around a corner, and then you'll come around a corner, and all of a sudden 4 more grunts will go off.
I wonder if that's just because of the skull mechanic and how it changes.
Oh, it is. It's totally related to the skull.
Okay,
but you got to be careful about that on Halo CE.
Fair enough.
Especially if you're trying to play through the pillar bottom on Legendary without taking health damage.
Okay.
That was fun.
Probably more like painful.
I only had to restart once.
Okay. Not bad.
On my actual, when I actually went to record it. Practicing? Multiple restarts.
Oh. Fair enough. That's just going to make it interesting for Lazo Run.
I don't think on Lazo it lets you turn those on.
You're probably right.
In MCC, Lazo is not really Lazo. It doesn't turn on like the Badana Skull or Grunt Funeral. It does
so it only
turn
does
on
difficulty
Boom.
multiplier skulls, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it turns on all the skulls you don't want on.
I feel like for Lazo, you almost have to do that co-op, so you restart back to a checkpoint and not the beginning of the level.
On the Lazo runs, there's plenty of guides out there on how to get through the level on Lazo. But, you have to play it at a totally different pace, in a totally different way. Energy weapons are your friends. When it comes to elites, you can't kill them without having a plasma pistol or plasma rifle to take their shields off. And it's not even that the noob combo doesn't even really work. You've got to put a lot of fire on their shields to get them to pop.
Well, plasma pistol still takes them down in one shot, I'm guessing.
Nope, not on Lazo.
Not with a charge shot?
Not with a charge shot.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You also have to remember that you have famine on as well.
Oh gosh. Well, enough about this depressing topic.
I wasn't the one that brought up Lazo.
I know. My bad. A patch for Halo Wars 2 came out a little bit earlier this week, addressing some bugs and other things. We do have some patch notes out on the Waypoint forums you can go check out. Halo Wars 2 will also be coming to Xbox Game Pass beginning February 1st, so for anyone that has that subscription, you'll be able to play Halo Wars 2 as part of that. Also, there is a deal for Halo 5 Guardians that is 40% off the Deluxe Edition, and it's available through January 22nd. That was posted on the Xbox Store Twitter. And if you just go and search for the Halo 5 Guardians Deluxe Edition, it should pull up the special as well. Or just go to the Deals with Gold section on Xbox.com. And you can find the Deluxe Edition for 40% off and the Base Edition for 20% off. I think 40% puts it at what? 50? Yeah, $50. It comes with the Fall of Reach Animated Series, the Warzone Rec Bundle, and Halo 5 Guardians. There you go. Next is they revealed the figure for the next Halo Legendary Crate, and it is Johnson and the Monitor from Installation 04, Guilty Spark, shotgun cigar, and it actually looks pretty cool. I like the way this figure looks.
Yeah, I like it as well. Don't shake the light bulb.
Yeah, please. Don't shake the light bulb. Right down in the community spotlight, too, someone actually made a render of Johnson with Guilty Spark and the shotgun, the crate, and all that stuff too. apparently within hours of this thing being revealed, because I think this figure just got revealed today on Twitter.
It's they made the comment, how'd they do this so fast?
Yeah. It's done by @BaileyJIII, or it might be Jill with a capital I and 2 L's on the end.
All I know is it's a cool shot.
It's in Source Filmmaker too. That might be one of the reasons why it didn't take too long to actually get it in there, because a lot of the assets from Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach have already been modeled out for stuff like Source Filmmaker. So probably just placing everything wasn't too bad. The difficult parts were probably getting the lighting, the shading, and the actual body of Sergeant Johnson in the right way done.
Getting him posed correctly.
I mean, that's background worthy almost.
Oh yeah, that's a cool pick.
Remember, you can get the legendary crate for $34.99 over at podtacular.com/loot crate, and if you use the code Podtacular at checkout, you'll get $3 off of your crate. And everything around the crate is themed around Sergeant Johnson, 343 Guilty Spark, a lot of that kind of stuff. I kind of like the themes for the second year that they've been going with a little more than the first year. The first year seemed to be just like a lot of cool stuff in all the different boxes.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wish I'd gotten this second season.
Well, you got at least the stuff coming from me. The clothes won't fit, but you got the goodies stuff.
Eventually. That's all right. I give the shirts to my wife anyway, so.
Okay.
Because they don't make one big enough for me.
Aw, that sucks. The next thing in the community spotlight is this like a cell drawing? Kind of like I guess illustration type of thing. It's the Master Chief and the sunset from the Halo 3, which is very basic, kind of shell shading style. I guess
almost like watercolor type colorations.
The funny thing this was posted on Reddit a day ago too. I think Grim was just kind of scraping some quick things together to get the bulletin out today.
Do you think?
Seems like it. The update at least. There's a video on here as well. It's a montage mostly of just RB scenes, which I particularly wasn't too thrilled about it. It's interesting. It was mostly just some of the cutscenes of Arbiter from Halo 2 Anniversary, with a few from Halo 3 and Halo 5, but mostly Halo 2 Anniversary. It was okay. It didn't tickle my fancy too much. Do you have a chance to watch it?
No, on my webpage it seems to be a broken link. Because it takes me to the the VOD of the live stream.
It did that for me too. I think you need just force refresh and it'll fix it.
Oh, yeah, there we go. No, I have not had a chance to look at it, so.
Grim replied back to me and said some other people were experiencing similar issues. And this happened to the last update that I had too. I don't know if it's just with how YouTube is loading it and with how the page loads too. I'm not sure. It's a little glitch or bug or something.
Just not translating the embedded link correctly.
Right. Or it's loading too quickly and it's like, oh wait, this is actually a different video link. Screenshots on here are pretty good too. The first one kind of reminds me with the sword.
The gold elite one, or
the second one from the bottom.
Glowing elite one. Yeah, the sword one.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool. Those are what do you kind of call those? They're not abstract, but it's basically where you just have the subject on black. There's a term for it.
Yeah, I'm not an art person, so I can't tell you.
Someone in the chat node. Because the one above it is Spartan renders, and it's a blue color. The set's called Frozen in Time. It's also done by Primordial 117. And then the one at the very beginning is also that kind of style too. The one at the beginning, with it being orange, almost kind of reminds me of jack-o'-lanterns. It also seems very anime-ish, just with the lighting effects. The other colorful one, the one by Not Liam 17, that one's pretty cool. I don't know how they got those colors in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like just a blend of like a screenshot and like a smearing of watercolor, and then there's certain outlines on the armor pieces and the weapons that kind of accented a little bit.
Yeah, it almost looks more like a drawing than a screenshot.
Yeah, but it's a screenshot. It's crazy how people find out how to do this. Receptor, tell us how this is done. There's a few other cool sets in here as well, but those are kind of the noteworthy ones. And that's it for the update. Not that much to go through, and not that much content right now. I think once we get to the Halo World Championship stuff, that's going to be mostly focused on the multiplayer and tournament aspect of things, and a lot of the other news stuff that we normally get out of the bulletins or updates are not going to be there quite as much. Probably some more lore stuff if Grim gets the Canon Fodder streams to be more regular. I don't know how often he's planning on doing those streams, maybe every month or few weeks or so. I'll have to wait and see how that goes. But that's all we have for the news this week. Nothing community-wise either that I was able to comb through and quickly find. Got anything to add, GT?
I broke my phone.
Oh.
But that's not Halo related.
How did that happen?
This last Monday, well, over the week, the last Monday, or this last Monday and Tuesday, our high was 0. So I went over to get some propane tanks filled, and I was zipping up my coat, and my phone fell out of my inside pocket.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's not good.
New screen and digitizer is $170. Yeah.
Is it your Windows phone?
Yeah.
Worth getting that replaced, or is it worth just getting a new one at that point?
Well, I did some looking, and you can buy them used on eBay for about $300. But then you'd also have to pay an unlock fee to get them unlocked. So $350. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. The nice thing is on my phone, it's pretty simple to change. I don't have to do the same thing like you do on like some of the other phones where you have to unglue the screen from the phone. It actually unscrews.
Huh. That's nice. I guess they kind of had a little bit of foresight to that.
The funny, I'm sitting here because I watched a video on how to do it, and it's really amazing at how much of the case is actually the phone.
Which would be about how much?
Okay, my phone has a 6-inch screen. The top part, which is the widest part, where the camera is about 1.5 inches wide, and the width of the phone. So 1.5 inches tall and 2.5 inches, 3 inches wide. This is the circuit board inside that's actually the phone. Then it has a strip that runs the length of the phone that's about 1/4 inch wide. And down at the very bottom where your mouthpiece is, there's another piece that's about 3/4 of an inch wide. So this kind of C shape. The battery actually takes up more square inches than the actual phone does.
I guess that's not too surprising, actually, now that I think about like the last time I saw the guts of an iPhone or a Samsung phone.
You think back to earlier phones, they're pretty much, you look at a phone, the circuit board is the complete size of the phone. It goes from top to bottom, all the way across. And, in this, you could shrink if you didn't want a screen or, and had an external battery, you could shrink this thing down to where, it's about 1 inch by 1 inch.
Minus the antenna, but yeah, you're right.
No, that includes the antenna.
Well, isn't the antenna usually like a ribbon around tied to the case, though?
No, not on that phone. The antenna runs across the top of the circuit board.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking weird.
Technology keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
No kidding.
I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you can find a replacement that's not too crazy expensive.
Well, that was the cheap one. Everything else, it gets more expensive from there. So I've got it ordered.
Gotcha. That's why I always have a backup phone just in case.
I have a backup phone. I mean, my phone still works and everything. It cracked one corner. It shattered one corner, and then there's, cracks radiating across the screen, but it's still usable. It's annoying. Because, every time you glide your finger across it, you feel it.
Right.
That's what my weekend project is going to be, is fixing my phone. Provided I have the right
tools to do it.
octuplet Torx bit.
Yeah. I've got one. I actually bought a whole set of security bits. I figured those would come in handy at some point.
Yeah, I've got a little, electronics repair kit that I think has one in it that I can use.
Cool.
It's one of those deals I don't want to mess with taking it apart until I got the parts.
Makes sense.
And I'm going to have to put something white down so I don't lose the screws on my desk.
Definitely. All right. Well, a couple of updates from us. We have finally gotten through what I dubbed the first season of Podtacular podcast, which is where Fumo was the host. So all of the first 161 episodes have been rendered. I think up to 65 have been published on YouTube, and I'll be working on publishing the rest over the weekend. So the whole first season will be available on YouTube to view and listen to. So we have that. Next thing is just a reminder about Achieving Halo. If you want to be a part of the last 2 episodes, then message GT on Twitter or Xbox Live and let him know that you're interested in participating.
And keep an eye out for our Looking for group.
Yeah, you can join our Xbox club by going to podtacular.com/Xbox, and that will take you to the club page, and then you can request an invite, and any one of the club admins will approve your invitation. No restrictions or limitations on joining. Just go ahead, request to join on over, and then you can be part of the notices that we put up there. An update on our company commendations. We flipped one of the level 4 ones.
Yay!
I bet you can guess which one that is.
Road trip.
Yep. So we finally got that one to level 5. That means we have 3 level 4s left. We still have forgot to pay the toll. We need another 31 of those, which is kill the driver of a moving vehicle by using a sniper rifle. And then we still need another 465 shoulder bashes and another 3,376 Marine kills to get to level 5. So those are all the level 4s that we have left. And then the closest level 5 one that we have is a ground pound kill, which we need another 476. Keep it going, people. We'll get there one of these days. Perhaps.
Yeah, forget to pay the toll. We only need another 31 kills to get to level 5.
That will not be too much longer. It's just one of those things where getting that sniper rifle kill on a vehicle is somewhat difficult. You either have to do that in Warzone or Big Team. So I have a feeling that will probably be another month or so before we get that one done. Shoulder bash shouldn't be that difficult to get. It's just the sheer numbers. I think that one might be another 2 months, I would guess.
Everybody go in there and play Castle Wars while it's here, because that's a great place to get shoulder bashes.
Oh, it totally is. And ground pounds too, actually.
And running people over with vehicles.
We need another Warzone turbo back till we can get the Marine kills. Or just focus on playing Warzone every now and then. That's going to wrap it up for the show tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, all that kind of stuff. If we have it, just search for Podtacular and you'll find us. Also, make sure you check out the podcast network. We are part of a group of gaming-specific shows, including Guardian Radio, Critscast, Podcast 76, The Learning Cliff, Work in Progress, and How to Murder Time. You go check it out over at thepodcast.com. We're looking to have our first guest of the year on. either next week or the week after. If you guys have heard of Eckhart's Ladder, that's the person that we're looking to have on as our first guest of 2018. He does some sci-fi comparison videos, with Halo being one of the main ones alongside Star Wars, and there's some other sci-fi franchises that he does some comparisons to. So he does weapon comparisons, technology comparisons, space battle comparisons, ship comparisons, all that kind of tech sci-fi related things within these different universes. Check it out, Eckhart's Ladder over on YouTube. That's ECKHARTS Ladder over on YouTube. Expect to have them either on this next week or the week after. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Hope to see you all this weekend for Fraggin' Fridays or another episode of Achieving Halo Recordings with GT. But until then, keep on fragging them trucks.